Hello and welcome to another edition of Make It Meetups. You've probably realized that I don't dress like a Ghostbuster every Thursday, but when I do, I'm probably going to tell you about 3D printing. This week I'm going to show you a few more resources on how to make your own 3D objects on the computer, as well as some really cool things that I've created on this printer. Today I'm going to show you two programs that you can use to create and modify 3D files on your computer. One of them is called Mesh Mixer and the other is Paint 3D. This program is called Mesh Mixer. It has a whole bunch of really amazing tools that let you sculpt and stretch and pull and pinch and change the objects just like you're manipulating a piece of clay. You can also cut and slice different objects together. Right here I've brought in a stormtrooper helmet and I'm going to resize it, and then I'm going to take it and I'm going to chop the bunny's head off and I'm going to give him a stormtrooper head. There's a whole bunch of really good tutorials online on how to use the Mesh Mixer, and I totally recommend checking those out. Remember, in Mesh Mixer and all other programs to save often just in case something goes wrong. As well, sometimes Mesh Mixer uses a lot of computer processing power, and sometimes if you're doing a really big action, it's best just to walk away and come back in 5, 10, 15, maybe even 20 minutes. Instead of the Stormtrooper helmet, I grabbed a minion off Thingiverse, and now I've created a minion bunny fawn. I challenge you to create anything that you can dream up. About 80% of this proton pack is 3D printed. The rest of it's created out of styrofoam and plastic tubing and a few other bits and pieces. I've created the majority of the parts for the proton pack myself in the 3D drafting programs. But there were a whole bunch that were shared by the community on Thingiverse, and they were just so awesome I needed to use them in my own design. This program is called Paint 3D. It's not necessarily for creating files which are 3D printable, but it's for creating 3D images on the computer. I've loaded in Jabba the Hutt from Thingiverse, and I'm using the spray tool to make him the color that I want, just blending a few different colors on top of each other. Then I can go into the 3D objects and give him a birthday hat if I want. You can also go into the 3D library and download a whole bunch of images that people have already made and connect them with the images that you're already working with. I've taken Jabba the Hutt and set him on top of an island, and then I decided to make it look like they're all coming out of a TV. So I loaded in a TV and I sized it to the right size and positioned it to make it look like they're coming out of it. You can also go in and change the colors and lighting and pretty much any other function you can think of. As well, for Paint 3D, there's some absolutely fantastic tutorials online, and they take you through step by step of every feature that you want to know how to use. Once we've created a file on the computer that we want to 3D print, we put it into a program called a slicer, and the slicer chops it up into slices just like a loaf of bread, and it converts it into a code that this 3D printer can read called G-code. To create all the shapes that we need, this bed moves forward and backwards, this head moves left and right, just like an Etch-a-Sketch would, and it creates all the shapes. And then to create the layer heights that we've just sliced the object into, there's a Z-axis that starts and it puts its first layer down on the base, and then it moves all the way up to the top. This is one of those sets of files that's just so cool. I had to create one rather than making my own, but it inspired me to make my own model boat designs. So I learned a lot from creating this. The files for this boat are all up on Thingiverse, and they're created by Peter Seprel, who has a really cool YouTube channel. The hull for this ship was printed out in 5 separate sections. Each one took about 20 to 30 hours to print. They all got glued together, and they included the motor mounts and holes for the propeller tubes. This has given me a lot of really good ideas for making my own radio-controlled boat models. And remember, you don't need a 3D printer to enjoy the 3D files that you create on your computer. In a program like Microsoft with Paint 3D, you can color them in and add textures, as well as view them in augmented reality. And don't forget to join us next week on Thursday at 2 o'clock for another Make It Meetup. Head over to lynda.com with your library card and check out some more advanced tutorials on Mesh Mixer, Paint 3D, and Tinkercad.